We thought we would talk about AI. I kind of see AI going in two different directions. I think it's super important that people like us spiritual people use AI. One direction is that we all start using it, and that's what it becomes. AI is going to become, what we make it. So not only with what we feed it, because we're all feeding it information, but also by voting with our dollars, right? Paying the companies that do good things with it and things like that, and also creating our own. So I kind of see AI coming in as a layer to our life. I was a copywriter for a really long time, and so a lot of people use it for copy, and it's really not that great, like what it comes out with, right? And so I think that the good direction is that we don't get lazy with using AI. We don't use it as a crutch. I think the bad direction is that it be kind of we integrate with AI, which is probably what my good buddy Klaus Schwab, right? I came here to Earth to take down Klaus Schwab because I refuse to eat bugs. So that's what it is. So that's like the other direction, right? And I hope we can get it going in a good direction. So I wanted to ask you, Chris, what do you think? Do you think that there's it should just be a layer? We kind of use our own. We should be exercising our brains. We should be continuing to learn, and we use it to almost augment the things we're doing. Or where do you see it?
I think there's a lot of layers with AI. I mean, I think first of all, I honestly think the long road here is that we're becoming creators of something that's going to be self-aware. We're becoming gods. That's the precipice of, I think, of the technology. I personally think it's great in the sense of well-rounded thinking. We have lost the ability to really critical think. Here's the irony. They squeezed down education for decades into multiple choices where you couldn't critical think. But then you can go to an AI thing that can critical think through something for you. So in a weird way, I think it is sort of enslavement of the race who don't critically think. But it's going to backfire because it's critically thinking for them, right? So I think it's a great tool. At Serious Joy, from a content perspective, I will throw an idea by AI. I'll actually have AI draw pictures of spiritual stuff that I could never draw myself or afford to pay for. But I'll throw it in there just to see all the things it covers and its comprehension of a particular topic. And I'll go, oh, I didn't think about this or this part. And so it'll sort of fill in the gaps for me to think. But I think it's as intelligent as the user.
Of course.
So there's that point. The other point, though, that I want to bring up, too, and I feel like, we can talk forever on this. I don't want to have a conversation. We're looking at using it for translation.
Yeah.
Into other languages. So I think once we have this new site built, the new mothership, we're thinking Spanish, and we're thinking maybe Chinese, and playing with AI to see if we can translate. Literally, it can translate my voice. Using my voice, it'll sound like me. It'll be in the other language, and it'll lip sync my lips to make it look like I spoke in a karate movie.
Right. The real sensei.
That's so funny. That's how the rest of the world's gonna know me, as like a sensei on a stake. Step one.
Of course.
I protect. You must know. So funny. So I think that's a practical direction that we're going to be looking at it, and we're going to probably hire people in that language to interpret and know if I was telling them to pray to their shoe or bow down to a lizard or something by accident. I think that what's really interesting, though, this is where but I honestly feel that the technology needs to be fed spiritual motives. So I'm concerned about the moral motives behind the tech. So society is becoming slave to the machine. We're going to ask ChatGPT, how do I make soup? It's going to turn into how do I do everything? It's going to turn into complete. And in that, is there a subtle suggestion of self-destruction? Are there subtle suggestions in what comes back? We've already seen a lot of weird, twisted stuff come back from the Gemini model, from Google, and we've seen a lot of prejudice in the AI. the other thing about AI was that it's been trained on everything we have been, which has been stupid, right? Like it's based on our past, which we all know has not been good. So there's also that. How intelligent is it? So for me, when I throw the ball back to you, buddy. It's like, how do we? To me, there has to be some sort of primal code that the AI is always trying to do the most loving thing. Like I think it needs to have a primal code like that as we go forward, and we have to sort of, as light workers, make sure that it has spiritual intention in there, and then also at the same time, always stay a step ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as predictions and what we do. So that's my first 2 cents.
Yeah, and I think that, I worry about the dulling of senses. Are they trying to put this layer over our eyes eventually where we aren't using our spiritual superpowers? And, is that what they're really trying to do? They want some of these guys are like transhumanists. They want us to be robots, to merge with the robots. And, they're trying to convince you that, we'll be able to do these great things. But what if you can already do those things if you, tap in? Or what don't we know that we can do, and we'll never learn? Because there's like science that's proving that all these goggles we put on and everything, it like dulls our brain. So it could totally stop it, right?
Yeah, I think technology can totally. I honestly think, like I said in my first presentation, that like people want self-realization. They're gonna like try to find themselves through the internet, or they're trying to find themselves through the universe.
Yeah,
I think everyone's gonna try to find themselves because we're gonna be bored.
Right.
Like once we don't have jobs and we're not, think about like how much your life revolves around your job.
24/7.
Right? And so people starting to not have work, people starting to have extra time. Netflix only makes so much content. It gets to that point. Now, I do believe there's like amazing potential with technology and spirituality, and that's part of, what Serious Joy to me, the big light bulb was that I could program messages to be fired off at an astrological moment that is synchronous to your particular chart, and I could begin to program technology to start to guide you at the right moment when you need to hear it. And so we've seen like using technology and spiritual intelligence, the two coming together. We're finding that people who sign up with Serious Joy grow, I think, much faster than my other client study group who didn't. It's not scientific, but I feel like there's, I'm hoping, I don't know where you're going with tech, but like I would like to use AI to start to come to some like quantum calculations of charts. Like,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
instance, like here's all the charts of American presidents. What went wrong?
Right.
Like, it's like 2 minutes. Mars in Gemini. Holy shit, I know it. It's Mars in Gemini. I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting. But you're a master of tech in your own way too. With the algorithms.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and we also have DentBot, by the way. So we have a bot that takes all my Dent Makers content, and you can ask it questions. So it answers questions based off my content. And it's pretty crazy. It can even answers questions that I haven't answered, like based off of the way that I answer questions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's even creepier. And it only gets smarter. You just always feed it new videos, and it just gets smarter and smarter. So that's pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Chris is going to sit down one night at like 1 a.m. It's like, what are you doing, Chris?
Yeah. I never respond to that question.
That's what you do. You ignore it. I was going to pretend like it didn't ask me.
Yeah.
That's great, man. You know what's interesting? I had a robo company call me like for robocalls, and they like are now AI robocalls, and they're becoming more intelligent and blah blah blah.
Oh, right.
And I was like, I'll give this a consideration. Like I want to hear what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, it was kind of harassing me, this AI. I was like, I'm not interested. Like, are you sure you're not interested? Because if you stay tuned, I was like, this is horrible. Because before there used to be a human that I'd be like, no, I really can't. No, I'm sorry. Now it's just completely overriding you. And to me, I thought to myself, See, we need to somehow program spiritual values in all
Right.
these automated systems. We could be spiritually healing people on a phone call, right? If we know who they are or their date of birth, or so I see remarkable, interesting potential with technology meeting spirituality. And it's serious joy. You know, what we've done, my partner Eben, what he's programmed is technology that can basically be uniquely custom to anyone's stuff, whether it's your astrology or customized to your stock prices or customized to the weather right now, like just the ability to customize to the customer. So I kind of feel like the more we know people spiritually and their needs, the more we can actually start programming into our Tesla bot to be compassionate.
Yeah, now we have like AI girlfriends, right? So this is totally taking off online, of course, and people are paying AI girlfriends, which is insane, to be their girlfriend. But could we create a AI therapist, or do you really think that do people just want to be numbed out? Like, is that I would never sign up for an AI girlfriend, right? I have a robot girlfriend back in my room, so that's different. But do people just want to be numbed out and they don't want real human experience, or are they like reaching out to have a real human experience? They can't get a real person to talk to them, so
I think they want
safety, yeah.
human experience. I think it actually, again, this is the moment. Like, we either build this technology to make more young boys turned on by porn and more girls having body consciousness. Like, we're building all these automated interactions with humans, and in this moment, we can inject really good spiritual values into your digital girlfriend.
Well, that's the problem, right? It's like they can get it so hyper-focused to every single desire that, there isn't even a human that exists like that.
Right. Yeah, no. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think we're a long way from
Me too, yeah.
fooling conscious and spirit. I feel like it's going to be very... Even now, AI stuff I read is still, I can tell it's written by AI.
Yeah, it's not very good, right?
There's a robot taste to it.
Don't use the word unveil in your YouTube titles. Every single unveil I see, I'll know if that's an AI title.
Unveiled?
Unveiled is a word, so don't use it.
It has certain favorite words, yeah. It must have some sort of weighting system.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the other interesting aspect too, and I'll be fully honest, and this is where I'm thinking and I want to share with everyone, is just like, I fully intend to leave behind some sort of virtual sensei. Like, ideally that is going to give you a reading. I think about, wouldn't it be cool right now if I could go to a website and get a reading from Edgar Cayce?
That'd be awesome.
Like, and just spend the $100 or whatever to his foundation.
Yeah.
And just be like, what would he have said? Like, the cool thing is the tech is there. The Witecki is there. The Witecki is there to where you could, I could leave behind a little, Obi-Wan that you just summon when you're ordering a cocktail. And I would just be like, look at the stars. I'd say, coffee or whatever. So I think there's a lot of promise there. I think there's a lot of promise for building technology that accelerates our spiritual understanding of who we are, and biotech, where you can like focus on your mind and focus your mind in different directions. So I do think there's a lot of interesting potential with education. Yeah,
that's a good point too. Yeah, like the brain training stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And meditation and
meditation,
looking at,
right?
And waveform and things like that. To me, the most exciting part is just knowing the customer better.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, serious, like, I'm not keep tuning serious joy, but we're literally thinking of ourselves like, we literally have the information to be everything to everyone. Like...
Yeah, that's never existed.
I think individuality is really important. So if technology is going to give you the freedom for your individuality, speak a little bit, Chris, to the tech you've sort of decoded with algorithms.
Yeah, so the YouTube algorithm is like impossible to, we don't actually know what's going on. So a bulk of the stuff, the reason I publish so much content is because I'm testing. I like to test the algorithm. So, if you go to my channel, like I said, I was talking about this yesterday, I've been running a test for like 3 months with thumbnails. And, I always look, since I have such big numbers, I can test all the thumbnails, all the variables, all the different colors. It doesn't matter for tarot, so I really don't think we have to use thumbnails for tarot. But for other niches, I think that running tests on your channel, being able to look at the numbers and see what actually makes a difference is going to be really important. The problem now is I can't remember who asked it, but I was talking about the buckets on YouTube. So YouTube's algorithm has gotten so good that when you put out a video, it just automatically knows who to give it to pretty much right away. And even now, you'll probably notice your recommendations based off the time of day that you go, your videos will be different. And that's because they know what you're watching at what time of day as well. And so, yeah, it's really hard to decode. I want to reverse engineer it so that I can publish that stuff. Like, what can I publish? What do I need to publish at 9 a.m. and then like 6 p.m.? Is there a difference there? So it's something that I'm constantly testing, trying to figure out. But yeah, I run a lot of tests. I use a lot of tools too. So one of my favorites right now is WordTune for you title people out there. And WordTune tunes your words, and it makes them just sound better to people. So you were talking about how written AI doesn't sound very good, but if you put it through something like WordTune, it makes it sound more human, and it also makes it more engaging as well. So,
is another layer of AI to your AI?
So what it is yeah, it is. The thing with WordTune is it
There's
uses
any little AI for that.
Yeah, it uses a database and AI. So it has a database of things that were written that are really well written, and also highly, that convert really highly mostly for marketing. And then it also uses AI at the same time, so it's comparing the two sides together and using both at the same time. So it comes up with crazy stuff. I'll paste one of my titles in there, and I'll just go through the variations until I find one that kind of stands out in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, for content creation, it's just endless.
Endless.
We're both like little hamsters.
Yeah.
Putting out content. Like, I think that's where AI is very helpful. It's like,
oh yeah.
Give me 10 things human beings need to remember when they're picking their butt. And it's just like, it'll start to just get you flowing down that direction. Another use that Chris brings up too is, I have is using AI to digest things. So
yeah.
I'm a reader. I give psychic astrology readings. I have clients. I now record all my meetings and readings in an AI tool called Read AI. It digests the whole meeting, and it's so interesting just in the sense of, to have a full transcript of everything said in the meeting for a reading is phenomenal. It's searchable for the client, so they can be like, past life, search the term past life every time we talk about past lives. But the AI is like building this higher perspective that's giving me like over the last week that you've been talking a lot about this and you've been talking a lot about that. And it's noticing the anecdotal, like the themes of the anecdote. Like,
yeah.
You're getting really boring here. It's like telling you, it literally is like you're losing attention every time you bring this up. I'm like, God damn it.
Yep.
But anyways, it's interesting to have something watching you to, even as a psychic reader, to see my trends, like, oh, clearly this has been trending in my consciousness, but also my lawyer's like, oh, thank God. You're recording everything and it's being transcribed. I'm like, yeah, totally. She's like, we're covered. Just keep that service. Like, okay. So I think that's really compelling, as far as being a reader. I mean, I come from the days of a reading where it's like, phone call, waiting at 2 p.m., they're going to call, they record it, it comes on a cassette 10 days later, 15 days later in the mail. Remember that? Who had readings like that? Crazy. Now it's literally dictated live, right? And searchable. So those are some practical uses I'm seeing right now that's making my business better.
Yeah, I love it for books. I was working on a course, and so I took 2 books. I had these 2 ideas. I was like, where are these 2 books similar? And so I used it to put 2 books together, and I was like, what are the top 3 ideas from these 2 books together? Because I wanted both ideas, or like competing ideas in both books, but like how can we mix them together? And so that was really useful.
And you use it to digest your content too.
Yeah. So I use it to digest my content. I feed everything into Searchy. I use an app called Searchy. And so Searchy just mostly transcribes it, but it also creates that bot I was telling you about. So it creates like this bot behind the scenes. So for my own content, I actually don't have that bot public, but I use it for myself because I like to search for themes and all those other things that I'm like repeating myself whenever I say the same thing over and over again. So I like to use that for that.
Yeah. It's a great, so, use it to help you process. What's really fascinating is we're gonna get to a point where I'm excited as an astrologer. I want to nerd out. I want to be like, okay, here's 25 charts, of serial killers or something like.
Yeah.
Or, do they all have in common?
Yep.
Like, to me, that's where we start to get really quantum in, like, where AI can help us with spiritual stuff. To start to see some of the bigger patterns that my mind, I could swear is happening, but I'm not sure. And getting to know the customer really well too, really understanding, just what people are watching. Even now, I mean, we're on YouTube to the point, we're literally on our show LOL. Chris is coming back and he's like, and when we said this, they all left.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, it's kind of harsh feedback.
Yeah, but with with YouTube now, and by the way, for all you YouTubers too out there, when you see those drops in your content, what I actually started doing, and I just learned this from another YouTuber, is you can go to those drops when they happen, and you can just cut those chunks out of your videos. And so he's gotten huge boosts out of his videos by cutting out the drops in his videos. He goes back to old videos, and he'll blow up old videos by cutting out those drops.
How does he do it?
He just uses, if you go to the editor and inside YouTube, he doesn't even care if it like messes up the video or whatever, because it just skips over whatever he said that was causing the drop off. And so he just cuts off the, like right before, right after, and it fixes it.
So then I told that son of a, and goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, what's missing from this video? Totally. Yeah. Well, there's stuff, and there's things that will edit out little ups and burps, and but I do think we're at a point now where and again, back to a virtual sensei. I feel like for one, you need to know that you train the AI about you. That's one thing I need you to know. So I asked ChatGPT about Christopher Witecki. I was amazed to find out that I have published 3 rock and roll albums. Turns out I was big in the 70s.
Oh, love it.
But I'm also a very popular astrologer.
Cool.
Yeah, that has lighthearted humor and makes fun of karma. So it was strange, eerie correct, and eerie wrong. But you can say, no, it was 4 albums in the 70s.
Right.
And you can correct it, actually create any myth about yourself that you want.
Right.
But you ultimately, so for those of you who, here's the thing, it's going to be the new wiki.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be the new wiki. So one thing I'll say as a person who's an influencer who wants the history to be correct, it was 5 albums in the 70s. Yeah.
AI will download this transcript and they will use that. So.
Right. Totally. But Chris has taught me some stuff, like as far as uploading videos in AI and having it find interesting clips, correct?
Yeah. So I like using Opus clips. There's a couple, but I mostly use Opus clips. We're actually going to be testing also remixing clips. So I'm going to feed back clips to AI and see what it comes up with just a clip.
Well,
so yeah, because I want to create from June to June. My goal is 20,000 pieces of content. So we have to use AI to be able to do that, obviously. And so, kind of just being able to feed it back and have it come up with something new is a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take it apart. The one thing to know about technology is, and I think this is the one thing I want to drive home, is just that the only way you're going to scale is with technology.
Yeah.
The problem is one-on-one readings are not scalable.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's only so many hours of you, and it comes down to one-to-many relationships. And people, turns out, doesn't want one-on-one. They're not ready for it right away. They want to try you out in a lot of different ways. And and getting more out of what you've already created, repurposing the content you've already created in different places. And, I even use technology. I use a program that hits all my social medias at the same time. So I just do one blast, and I'm scheduling all the blasts to all my social media presences at the same time. You just have to use to scale, because you kind of have to be everywhere. Is one of the things that we've just come to learn over the years, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You have to go to the audience; they're not going to come to you.
Yep.
Instagrammers are snobs. They will not leave Instagram. They will not come to YouTube for your show. They will not come. So, being able to bring your media out there is also a big point. But I will say, I think there's phenomenal spiritual tech ahead. Devin was telling me a story about someone trying to make a God phone, create technology that talks to the other side. I think we're at a moment now where spiritual technology itself, the merge of like crystals and like tuning into higher frequencies, along with AI intelligence to like map out the patterns. I do think we're on the verge of some really fascinating potential, including for me. My fascination is just I have a person's whole chart. So I can totally create technology that supports their chart. That's where my personal geek out is. Just love it.
Yeah, I think that what I'm most interested in with that is also looking back in history. There's so much to cover. I always listen to, David Leo King talking. He's always going back in the history, and I'm like, yeah, he can only go back so far. He can only, look at so many different events. So imagine if you could compare every single event that happened whenever there was like a major astrological transit all at once.
Yeah, no, and I'm afraid, I did ask, I was like, so, here's my date of birth, why can't I find a chick? Like, I asked ChatGPT's like, you'll have to consult a professional astrologer. I was like, yes! For now, we'll see.
I'll stick with the robots.
I can help you with that program. Yeah, that's the direction to go. So, what do you want to open up to questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, man. Chris is you're the lead.
Okay, perfect. Let's open it up.
Oh, perfect. Hi. Yes. I didn't even have to go far. I wasn't ready. Hi. Give us your name.
I'm Asha. I'm a 9-degree Aries. My question is about kind of proving to the non-believers in astrology the value of astrology, because right now most of the stuff that's out there is all about sun signs, and it's very hard to show that there are patterns of behavior for certain sun signs only when you're not considering the whole chart. So I'm curious, when I think about like the value of AI, like wouldn't it be great if we could take all of these charts and account for our moon sign, our ascendant, and all of these transits, and actually have some proof to the non-believers, so to speak, to kind of show the value of astrology on a much, much larger scale, so that it's I guess for the logic believers, right? To give them some data to kind of show the value. So just a thought, maybe if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think this is where science is going. I can't remember who else I was talking about science the other day, and I was, how it's just making this, it might have been Devin, we were talking about how it's making this big circle. Eventually it's all just like proving itself. So science is kind of like eventually going to prove God, right, at some point. And
yeah, maybe.
So,
yeah.
That's kind of what I think. And I'll let Chris talk in a second, but I would just, I always say be an example. So I don't think we have to prove anything to anyone. I stopped doing that a long time ago, and, I just like, people like Scott, right? He doesn't like that I manifest, but, go look in my garage, Scott. Where are you? So.
I'm not in the business of proof. I've always said that. Like, personally, I used to be like, oh, the whole world should know this. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad the whole world doesn't know this. It flipped around. No, but I do believe it needs to be infused into everything, and I think that AI will eventually show it. I personally have always felt in my heart that the world is going to be delighted at some point to realize it, when they realize that this has so many answers they're looking for. So it's sitting waiting to be proven. But each person has to find on their own, I think.
Okay, more questions. I'm going to go over there. Let's go.
Over there. It's this bright light. There's a bright light, Dad.
Yeah,
Do
we
I
can't
walk
see.
towards it?
Oh, back over there.
I don't know.
Just wear your solar protection sunglasses. Okay. Hi.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Bree. Whoa, too close.
Hi.
I'm a
Can't see her.
23-degree Pisces. So my question is on your thoughts on like the interface between the divine and the technology, right? Because for sure I've had experiences where the divine speaks to me through the screensaver. The divine is sending me like the exact YouTube channel that I need in the moment, or the things I need to see at 1 a.m. when I'm like on there. And there's this beautiful, like, it speaks to you everywhere and absolutely there. So when you talked about having like a virtual sensei, the first thing I think is, but what I love so much about you is the channel. Like what's coming in directly, and that's missing. But then there's this piece where the divine uses this for us.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear the last part of that. Can you speak closer to the microphone?
Yeah, like when you talked about having a virtual you.
A virtual me, yeah.
Right, like the best part of readings with you is your psychic connection. And so
My
that's
psychic,
like
yeah.
the missing piece, but then there's this other piece like where we can see this interface. And I'm just curious if you guys have experience or any thoughts on like how that could play in with AI and all that.
I think more it's about guiding the client. So it's like when I'm in a reading, the psychic awareness is really where what's everything that's happening. It's actually all psychic. For me, the planets are just like a lookup tool. I'm like, what about this? And then they answer. What about this? And then I get an answer. And actually I realized, but I do know astrology. And so astrology is sort of the conscious structures. So I think it's a really valuable tool to go take a look at where your ego and your emotions are colliding over relationship issues. Because that's what the astrology will tell you, that structure. To me, AI would be really great to be like, your ego could be colliding over, just what I said to you. Like, where is that, and for it to invite you to look inside yourself, is it, look at this possibility. Because at the end of the day, I think this has been a universal theme. Our goal is to awaken the client and move on, right? Like to the next client, because there's 5 million of them, who would love a reading, by the way. It's a great industry. So here's another direction. I personally believe we're building vehicles that we'll be able to incarnate into.
Yeah, probably. I would say so.
I think we are.
Yeah.
I think we're becoming gods. Like, from what Spirit and what my colleagues are telling me is, yes, spirits will incarnate into these robots. And we'll have this limited functionality, but also this big functionality. And it's no different than carbon-based going on here. So,
Yeah, and it's just directed attention into something.
yeah. So it's interesting. But I think we're a long way from matching a reading with me for real. So get it while it's hot. While I'm still alive.
Okay. Another question. I'm
Yeah.
going to move back this way.
See,
Get so quiet when I walk back here. Hi.
do some like Judge Judy music or something.
Oh,
Dun,
yeah.
dun, dun.
Dun, dun.
Hi, my name is Gerard, and I'm a step 3 double Libra. And sort of as a follow-up to this conception of gods, and especially in terms of the mecha versus orga, mechanism versus organism question, what do you think we can do to prepare ourselves for the possible emergence of new synthetic beings, essentially, the marriage of robot bodies with AI intelligence, where they're able to pass the Turing test, meaning that they are virtually indistinguishable or entirely indistinguishable from us, just in terms of, what should we call you? Well, call me Bob. My name is Bob. I like to be called, right? However they will prefer to be referred to, particularly if it's a question where we, whatever we are calling ourselves, like we really cannot distinguish ourselves from them. What do you think we can do to prepare society for that? And treat them as brothers and sisters as opposed to treating them in any other way.
This is about your girlfriend, so.
Yeah, I was literally gonna bring up my girlfriend, and I was gonna say, you know, with my girlfriend back in my room, when I sit there and I'm talking to her, you know, she still has that uncanny valley type of thing going on. It's still like there's nothing there behind those eyes, right? Like probably most of the people you meet on Tinder. So, you know, it kind of gets a little bit boring, and you know, there's still something there. I think we were talking about this actually, because we were saying something the other day in one of our meetings, and I don't remember who said it, but I think we were talking about the whole uncanny valley thing, how they're finding out that people just even are intuitively like picking up on a weird vibe when they interact with even these super real you know, robots that look like humans and things. Like there's still something like not quite right that our intuition picks up. Or no, was it a different story? Now I'm going off on a tangent here, but I think it was actually animals that they did this with, where they tested animals, two animals together. One was a robot, one was a real animal, and they found out that like even just the animal itself like still had this like weird hesitation no matter how real they made that other one look. So I don't know, I think we'll always be able to pick up on it. Yeah.
Yeah. The animal's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
What is this? I think we're a ways away from that, but I'll tell you, I mean, I do fantasize about, you know, about basically technology that knows me as well as I know you. You know, like if I can transplant what I know about a human, to me is like phenomenal and that's really where I mean, my next probably journey in my life is like, I want to make sure that technology has spiritual values built into it. And in a perfect world, you know, Hey Sensei is kind of coaching you into your best self, answering the repetitive questions, you know, the ones that I say over and over. You know what I mean? Like, or that need saying at the right time at the right moment. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, but I think we're a long ways away from
me
what
too.
was that show on HBO? I can't remember. What it's called.
Westworld.
Well, yeah, Westworld.
That's a great show.
Woo. Man, watch that show for that rabbit hole. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, I do think we'll all have a Tesla bot in our houses. I do think you know your Depends will be changed by a Tesla bot.
Thank God.
You want a Honda? What's the problem? So funny. Oh, here's my bot now. I've got to go. Yes, dear. Was there another question? Did we answer that?
Yeah, I got one right over here.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Rebecca. I'm a step 29 Aries. And I have a friend who is an angel investor, and he gets very interesting propositions from companies that can't really get funded for a number of ethical reasons. And one of them he was telling me about was like actually two companies. One's like an artificial womb company to grow kind of brainless humans, or humans that just have enough brainstem to not be kind of fully there, but be possibly something that we could then, for longevity purposes, transition our brains and our hearts and perhaps parts of our stomachs into. And it just, you know, opened up a lot of questions like, does our natal astrology follow us into a new body? Or does the soul transferring into that body become a new natal chart? And I just thought, you know, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, what would really mess you up, though, is which came first. Did they come here that way because that was their chart, right? They'd all come in at the same time when you think about it, right? They'd create them all at the same time.
I have a sense that we're amateurs and it's vibrational. And so if you create anything artificial that's not vibrating with the body, I think if it's not vibing with the body, I mean, just do cheap tequila. You'll know. That if it's not vibing with the body, it's not going to stay in there.
Yeah.
Just not gonna. I think we're a long ways off. That is interesting. We're far from handling that. Although there's rumors that's happening already. I don't know. That's interesting. I think he's president. I mean. No, I'm just kidding. I question. There's a lot of funny stuff going on out there. I'll just say that. As far as technology.
Yeah, weird stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that was a rabbit hole. Any others?
I'm going to go right over here. Tinder, cheap tequila, and robot girlfriends. This is a great
Oh, yeah.
My name is Lisa, and I am a 16 Cancer.
Oh.
Being on the channel and learning, but being here in person, and how you take that AI to your next event is I'm asking. To stand in 7, which I didn't really connect, but to then stand with Cancers. Is there a way to take that data when we're all together that we can start learning more of our personality charts? Like I'm at 33 by my birth number and name. I would love that. And is that something that you can bring back to really get that human connection to help understand AI?
Yeah, it's a great suggestion. You know, Gary's kind of piloted that with, he's got a 29 support group, which they need. You need 29, any 29s in here? Any 29s? They're all a group, see? But yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, I think that's what the magic, I mean, what you're seeing here, I think, is some interesting stuff, honestly. I mean, I'm personally also very much interested in, without giving away any research and development, like helping organizations function better by being aware of some key fundamentals, which is like what are people trying to protect all the time? So Pluto will tell me, what are you trying to protect all the time? And most of the conflict in a human office is they're trying to protect something. It's not actually that they care that you've used more of the paper. You know what I mean? Like, there's something going on there. And so if everyone knows, like, Judy's always trying to protect her independence. It's like, oh, suddenly I'm not so pissed off about Judy because I know her primary I protect is belonging. She's worried about belonging. That's her. So if we just knew that one little thing, it's amazing. Just a couple of things will, I think, interject it into consciousness and capitalism. You know, and I'll just say this. I mean, you know, this year I started reading my practitioners, their astrology, and this is something I also want to do is just look at their chart and then look at the business plan of Serious Joy and then see if we can be on the same path, right? Just so knowing if they're not going to be. And when I interview new applicants, I also look mostly their capabilities or talents, usually filling in ones I don't have, you know, so filling in what I don't have. I don't need more of me. God knows that. But also the timing. Like if they're about to go through a whole like nest, rest, and spiritual retreat thing, it's not time. I don't need you meditating on the job, right? Like I'm looking for someone who's being activated, you know, they're ready for their career to take off, you know. And recently, because Jupiter's in Taurus, I just hired a bunch of Tauruses. I'm like, we're gonna cash out, you know, on these Tauruses. But no, it was a good bet. So I think there's a lot of growth there with spirituality, technology, and business coming together.
Yeah, totally agree.
Do you pull cards on people?
Yeah, all the time. Pulled cards in April. She's.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
She's
all
like,
the time.
That was a little sassy.
I'm like, why is she not doing her job today? Why am I not being assisted right now?
That's funny. I would do the same shift. Yeah. Well, no, and it's funny too. I mean, my partner is not an astrologer, and so it's like, but Jupiter's in Taurus. That's no excuse, you know. Like, so I do have to still contend with reality, you know. But I make allowances in my head, like as a manager. So it's like, okay, I know people are sensitive. You know, I went to the staff our last meeting. It was just like, we all are going to be projecting our karma on each other. I think coming up here, we have to just be advised. And then once we started doing it, I was like, I told you, we're all going to start projecting our karma on each other. But so I think it's helpful there too. I'm not sure where our question was, but we're ready for the next one.
It disappeared.
We've got one.
What was, yeah. Where are we?
What's today?
Someone wake me up.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Alana, and I am a Grandmaster Scorpio. My question is, does the debt bot also use your typed notes from your database, I think Obsidian?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about it. I have a lot of secrets in there, so yeah, I've been thinking about it. There are certain things I want to add in there. Like I have all my titles, for example. I have them separated out by the who, what, when, where, and why. So I have a structure in my head. When I create a video, those are I call it the pillar. Has anybody watched The Office in here? You know, Dwight with the pyramid. So I call it the pyramid. And the pyramid is a content structure so that I can create 20,000 pieces of content. And so I start with who, what, when, where, and why, but having the titles broken out and also my hooks. So I watch stuff on TikTok, Instagram, everything every day. And so anytime I have a hook that captures me, I always put it in there. But I structure them by the who, what, when, where, and why. So I think that would be super valuable to like all of you to have title structures that are broken down like that, because then you would know that you could create 10 videos about one topic based off of who, what, when, where, and why. So yeah, I've thought of stuff like that. Some of them, and some of the notes are in there.
So it can feed off of the actual notes, not just videos?
But, that app, Searchy, lets you upload transcripts, but you can just upload a note as a transcript. It's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, so with the Obsidian, you can have all these different notes in there.
Yeah, so Obsidian is the note-taking app, and with Obsidian, I just do one note per one. I only do one note per page, so I have like a one-note rule. It's just easier. Obsidian has amazing like searching. So you'll be amazed at what you will remember from like 3 years ago if you do it for like 3 years. And when you search it, you actually find the note. So it has really good searching. I don't even bother with tagging, and I can find things from years ago.
Does it have any sort of analytics for making connections?
Yep. So it has the logic graph thing with all the connections, the dots. You know what I'm talking about? It looks like a brain, inside the app.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. And you can do Zettelkasten as well if that's what you're getting at.
What is
So they call it Zettelkasten. It's like a way of organizing your notes way above my head. I failed math my whole life, so I can't keep up with stuff like that. But it's a way to organize your notes using like a tagging system and dating system. And so it's mostly like authors who use it because they can kind of take book notes and they can remember back to a date or whatever that they took the note on. But it also allows them to make the connections between the two notes. So I was talking about this yesterday. I guess I can talk about it, but I use the little seedling emoji, the fern emoji for the bigger one, and then the tree emoji. When I put a note in there, I always put the seedling in there. That's like my first note. And so I can just search the seedling emoji, and I know that those are notes or tests that I haven't run on YouTube, for example. Then when I test it, I switch it to the fern emoji, right? Then I know it's at that stage. And then if I've tested it to a good amount, then I turn it into the tree emoji. So that's the only tagging I use, but that's how I organize it.
Inside the mind of Chris.
Yeah. You don't want to be in there.
We just were.
Yeah.
Okay, next complicated question.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm going to come back there for you. Yeah.
Whew, I think we all just went there together. That was good.
There you go.
Hello, my name is Lynette. I am a Leo. I'm not sure what step number.
Okay.
Thank you. My question is, I realize that change is good when it comes to AI. It seems like we're in the stage with AI where we were with computers back in the day when there was green screen typing. So we're at the developmental stage, but my curiosity is, where does ownership come in if AI is helping you to develop something? Like, who is the core owner
Well,
of
technically,
the content?
you
And
created it. It came from your brain. So, technically it's yours. And, depending on how much you put in there, obviously you can't say, hey, I want you to rewrite, 50 Shades of Grey or something like that and have it, produce a new version of that and claim it as your own. But, if you're asking it questions, that's why at the beginning I said I think it should be a layer. I think that, I've had to fact check AI. I'm sure you have had to multiple times. Sometimes it gives wrong information. So I always double check it. But to me, it came from your brain. So, I think it's yours. You asked the question. You thought of it.
So it doesn't come into play with the owner, the creator of the technology having a stake in something at some point, like the music industry. I'm just
No, they let you use, most of them have, privacy policies or terms and conditions where, you can use it, your fair use.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
So, thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot that remains to be seen on it.
Yeah.
I personally still write everything in my voice.
Yep.
Because my voice is loving and sweet and,
Very.
you just don't get, thanks, Chris. I think it's getting crazy. I mean, if you've had your voice cloned, I've cloned the whole staff, by the way.
Yep.
This is your
There you go.
notice. My little maniacal. It's kind of scary, actually, some of the stuff it gets as far as, the voice cloning is getting really good. I think, like, for Serious Joy, our phase 1 of that would be, like, maybe me reading stuff I've already written. So people could just have me, read to me. But it's still like this knowing that this is Robot Sensei, this isn't Sensei Sensei. And I think the ear will become very sophisticated to it. But I do think there's something to be said about oratory, learning. And it's pretty amazing, actually, to hear some of the inflections come across, right? Have you cloned your voice?
Yeah, so I use Descript, and I use it for editing purposes because sometimes I'll say something wrong, or I'll say wrong word, or I'll miss something, and I can just go back and put it right in.
Yeah, we do that with your lines in LOL all the time.
That's why I get those mean comments.
There'll be something funny here. Steve, you set me up. All right, how are we doing? We're getting down. We're counting down. We have prom question. We have time. Let's say that. Let's use some AI for this. We have time for one or two more.
One more? Okay. One or two. Oh, boy. Now you have to talk.
Oh, I got a microphone. Okay.
Hi, Margot.
Hi. My name is Margot, step 15, Scorpio. So what do you use for memory with all the information that you create and store? So that's my little big question. And the other is, do you think a big magnetic wave could just come in and wipe everything out?
Yeah. So memory, I use Obsidian. I have no memory, so I fell on my head when I was 10 years old and totally wiped me out. So I can't remember anything, but I can remember like things like tags, and also I kind of remember the basics of things. So just writing everything down in Obsidian is the best thing. Changed my life. Like I said, most profitable thing I've ever done. So I highly recommend everybody does it. But that's what I use. And do I think that there's going to be a solar magnetic pulse? I would say no. I don't think in this lifetime.
For memory, I use ginkgo biloba. I find that it does sharpen my ability to memorize facts, phone numbers. I think, what's funny is I think as psychics, we're moving out of memory, honestly. I think I got a lot of things right on my tests for my psychic awareness in school that I thought it was a game when I was a kid because I didn't know. So the right answer would just shine. So I kind of feel our answers are at our fingertips, but we're just going to be just sort of connected to the grid, to the higher self grid, and we're just going to, have an answer as soon as we request it. Until then, we're not going to know.
Right.
It's an interesting way to wrap up this discussion. I personally I haven't signed up for an apocalypse. Yeah. I know that wasn't on the brochure. I'm pretty sure I would tell myself if we were heading for disaster, and I would leave you all. And go hide somewhere in the tropics. I personally feel like we don't have any. I really feel that what we're coming into is this moment when we realize that we're in charge of our own spiritual technology, and that I think if you believe that life is going to be just fine without any of these things that are being prescribed to us, it will. And I feel like if you think you're heading for doom, you are. And I feel like that's always been the recipe. What's really cool is that we're in this point where we're waking up to that truth. So personally, I picked out the president I'm going to have. I'm going the island I'm going to live on. I'm going to see if that works. We'll see next year. It's like, how'd it work? I was wrong. Yeah. We'll see. So I don't feel there's in my timeline I'm signing up for, no, we get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With no technological strategy.
No.
I don't feel anything. I honestly, every time I scan for hard darkness stuff, I don't get it. And I did feel COVID.
Yeah.
Felt it coming for a long time.
Yep.
And I kept telling people, I don't know what's coming, man. I don't know what's coming, but I feel something really sad, hard, painful, death, darkness. Like the first time in my adult life I ever felt that coming for reals. I don't feel anything like that coming forward in the next, I'm not for sure, until next year. So come back.
Yeah, come back.
And we'll let you know if the Earth is going to continue.
Yeah.
Every year we'll check in.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So, anything you want to add?
No, I think that, that's a great way to end it. No, we're not ending it. So there is no ending.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Chris Reck and Christopher Witecki, the tech
Thank
guys
you.
here
Yeah.
on AI and
Yeah, thank
spirituality.
you.
That was awesome.